This is a story of a father trying to explain Lent to his 10-year-old boy. At one point, the father said, "You ought to give us something for Lent, something you will really miss, like candy or chocolate." The boy thought for a moment, then asked, "What are you giving up, Father?" "I'm giving up liquor," the father replied. "But before dinner, you were drinking something," the boy protested. "Yes, but that was only sherry," said the father. "Okay, I give up hard liquor," to which the boy replied, "Well then, I think I will give up hard candy." How is our Lent going? So today we are celebrating the second Sunday of Lent. And what do the readings tell us about? In the first reading from Genesis, we heard about a person called Abram. The name Abram means the father of many. God comes to him and says, "Go forth from the land of your kinsfolk and from your father's house to a land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you." I was talking about hot candy, so it's okay. You still have hot chocolate. It's all right. Yeah. Disagreed. Well, so in the first reading, Abram, when God says approach him, he was already pretty old. And what do you think when God says to him, he's going to make a great nation of him? Well, the problem is, at that point, Sarah and Abram, they didn't get even a child. Well, is it convincing that God kind of gave him these promises? Going to, make of you a great nation and make your name great and bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. And all the communities of the earth shall find a blessing in you. Well, all these promises, all these covenants really, really sound great. But Abraham, he didn't even have a child at that point. So if you and I were him, what is going to be our response to God? We will probably complain, "God, I don't even have a child." Well, we are human, so this might happen to us as well. When this happened to us, we have to remember Zechariah and Elizabeth. When the angel approached Zechariah, Elizabeth's going to bear a son. He couldn't believe, and he was mute until the boy was born. So what this first reading has been telling us, for Abram, he is very obedient. He is righteous. He is holy. God knew about him. That was the reason God told him, "All right, leave everything, go to the land where I want you to go." And imagine, they have quite a lot of sheep, a flock of sheep. And also they have to pack up everything. And it is not that easy for him to move from one place to another. But without any complaints, he listened obey what God says him. That's why Abraham is mentioned, father of faith. And if we look at second reading as well, St. Paul's second letter to young Timothy, the future bishop of Ephesus, and St. Paul says to him, bear your share of hardship for the gospel with the strength that comes from God. Why Paul encouraged him to share of hardship for the gospel? Well, because it is not easy for us to bear the witness of the gospel. However, this is how the gospel works. This is how Abraham walked. We have to trust God. We must have faith in God. It is demanding. In our Lenten journey, 40 days of Lenten journey, why should I give up this thing? Why should I give alms giving? And why should I pray? Why should I do this and why should I do that for the Lent? We might have quite a lot of questions, but Jesus said last week, in the gospel, when the bridegroom is taken away, it is time for all of us to do the fasting, to do the prayer, and to give almsgiving. Because we also have to go through the example of Jesus, which he shown going to the way of Calvary and dying on the cross for us. We also have to embrace this cross. But the thing is, we are not just following him to die on the cross. Jesus ascended into heaven. We are also going to ascend into heaven. That's the invitation. That's the reason why we should try our best in this Lenten season to unite with God and to detach from the worldly things. In the gospel today, in the second reading today, St. Paul encouraged Timothy, bear the hardship for the gospel, encourage him that the strength comes from the gospel, not from ourselves. The strength comes from what Jesus promises to us. In the gospel, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, and led them up a high mountain, and where he was transfigured before him, shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And then after that, Jesus asked these three disciples, let's go down, and we have to go to Jerusalem, and I have to suffer, die, and resurrected over there. Well, before he mentioned that, what Peter told Jesus, this is really a good place. I will build 3 tents for you. Well, only 3 tents. There's a kind of, a story about it. A certain missionary on a steady trip to the Holy Land was visiting Jaffa, where Peter was residing when he baptized Cornelius. So it is not very far from the mountain. Jaffa is a very, very beautiful place, breathtaking, beauty of this small seaside town. So he really, really enjoys staying over there. So when he mentioned about, I'm going to build 3 tents for you, for Moses, for Elijah, and for you. And then there's a joke. Well, Peter, where are you going to stay? I already have the best place, at the Jaffa. So the thing I would like to share you is, Jesus kind of transfigured before these disciples. He showed how magnificent it is going to be after the resurrection. However, before the resurrection, we have to go through the passion. We have to embrace our cross, carry this cross and follow him. Therefore, we have to kind of check our Lenten season, how we have been going in this Lent. Do we put our trust in the Lord, or our faith has been kind of, going down a little bit? And then remember, we are not just kind of making this effort kind of to the way to Calvary, but we are making this effort for our resurrection to ascend into heaven.